All right, wolfstreet.com, Wolf Richter site. Don Quejones is writing this article. Again, I'm fascinated to see what happens with any of these countries, really. When they start to split apart and this one wants independence and you're taxing us too much, you're taking too much from us, we're not getting enough autonomy and this and that. So Catalonia chaos begins to squeeze Spain's financial markets. Quick look surprise, right? The cash cow no longer wants to deal with that, with Spain and its debt and anything else that goes with it. So now the banking system's starting to crack. Financial instruments, shares of companies, and all kinds. It's basically taking its toll now. It's not good for the markets. Not good for anything finance, at least over there on that side of the world. Spain's biggest political crisis of a generation, which has led to the complete breakdown of communication and understanding between its government in Madrid and the separatist region of Catalonia, is finally beginning to take its toll on the country's financial markets. Spain's benchmark index, the IBEX 35, slumped nearly 3% following its worst day of trading since the Brexit vote last June. Spain's 10-year risk premium, the differential between the yield on its 10-year bonds and the yield on Germany's 10-year bonds, soared to 129 basis points. And that's despite the fact that the ECB continues to buy Spanish debt hand over fist with their massive printing press that they're doing over there, printing spree. But it is the banks that have borne the brunt of the pain this week. On Monday, the first trading day after the independence referendum, they lost 4.84 billion euros in market value. Over the past 5 trading days, shares of the 2 biggest Catalan-based banks, CaixaBank and Banco de Sabadell, have plunged, respectively 9% and 13%. 13 in life to go, 13 in life to go. Your crime is financial crime. 13 in life to go. Tell me if you're a Skid Row fan. Seriously. Back in the 80s, baby. So tense is the situation that the CEOs of each bank felt compelled to release a statement today reassuring customers that they have all the means and tools necessary to protect their interests. Their contingency plans include the option of abandoning their base of operations in Catalonia and moving elsewhere to Madrid in the case of Sabadell and Mallorca, or is that Molorsa, in the case of CaixaBank. But it wasn't just Catalan banks that were caught up in today's rout. Important Spanish banks with somewhat less exposure to Catalonia also saw their shares plunge. Santander, Spain's only globally systemically important bank, was down almost 4% on the day's trading. BBVA, Spain's second bank, which has important operations in Catalonia, after acquiring the failed savings bank Catalonia Zaxa in 2015, fell 3.6%, and Bankia was down 3.6% as well. Standard & Poor's today put Catalonia's credit rating at B+/B. Whatever the hell that is. I understand B+, but the /B, whatever that is it's already deep in the junk. On review for a downgrade of 1 notch or more. Quote, if we believe that escalating political tensions between Catalonia's government and Spain's central government could put in question the full and timely refinancing of Catalonia's short-term debt instruments or undermine the effectiveness of the central government's financial support to Catalonia. The threat of default moves a step closer. 2 days ago, Moody's warned that the ratcheting up of tensions between Spain and Catalonia has negative credit implications for Spain because it complicates the process of legislating policy and putting together its 2018 budget, right? So let's think about that for a second. You've been relying, again, you got a budget, you know these regions, roughly what they're bringing in, and one of your cash cow regions is now gone. It's not a little bit, it's gone. What do? Did all your bills just stop coming in? Do all the retirees, pensions, employment for government workers, all the above that government has to pay for, the Spanish government, were they able to take, a fifth away of that? Well, since Catalonia is leaving, we're taking a fifth of what we owe away with it, because that was what they put in roughly. Wasn't it like a fifth or so? No. It reminds me of the story of my buddy Jason back in, I'm guessing 2007 or so, 8 maybe. Still feeling the brunt of the housing crisis. Everybody, they lived in a townhouse that they bought, him and his wife at the time. And they have to pay the little fee, the little kind of an HOA fee or whatever. I think it's called something different. Maybe not. And everybody is walking from these things. Townhouses got hit bad. They're massively upside down. He decided, I'm going to stop paying too. The hell with this. Number one, his 80 whatever dollars a month fee he had to pay turned into 125, 150, 200. I think it was nearing or got to somewhere around 300 a month before he said that okay, it's over. I'm not paying it. I'm done. And he walked. Why did that fee keep going up? Because people stopped paying left and right in that area he lived in, that little development of condos. So the people in charge of the HOA or whatever it's called, in his instance, we have to bring in this amount of money because we have this amount to pay out every month. So whoever's left sitting here, you guys have to come up with the difference. Now, they don't tell you that. It just simply says your fee's going up. Have a nice day. And the more people moved, the higher the fee got. So Catalonia moving, the fee's going up on everybody else. And everybody else ain't going to like it. So if everybody else doesn't like it, get ready for Catalonia Part 2 in Spain from some other region. Because they're not going to be stuck with this bill that Catalonia left, basically, and say, okay, yeah, that's fine. We're okay with this. And, of course, Spain can't balance its budget now because it's got a cash cow that just left. See where this is going? It may have taken a long time, but investors are finally beginning to sit up and take notice of the events unfolding in Catalonia, as I reported yesterday. Neither side of this conflict is showing any willingness to de-escalate tensions. The King of Spain, Felipe, was that the 6th, speaking in a televised address on Tuesday night, admonished the Catalan government for its inadmissible disloyalty and called on the Spanish state to restore constitutional order. Not once did he mention the word dialogue or the hundreds of people injured in the Spanish police raids on voting stations on Sunday. In Brussels today, the first vice president of the European Commission, Frans Timmermans, categorically ruled out the possibility of the EU playing a mediating role in the dispute. Of course not. Because the EU is going to say, get your butt back in line and shut up. We love cash cows. Trust us. We know all about cash cows. The whole EU zone's a cash cow for us. We're unelected officials. We have our own printing press. We pay ourselves fantastic salaries. And we make backroom deals with other people who give us insider information. And we trade on that insider information. And this is a wonderful world for us. But that's for us, not for you guys. The peasants, the commoners, the consumers, the useless eaters. So in Brussels today, Mr. Timmermans categorically ruled out the possibility of the EU playing a mediating role in this dispute. Right, because there's not a chance in hell the Catalonia won't even talk to them. I mean, they probably would try, but your demands are what we did this for. The whole reason we did this. So you're asking us to compromise with going back to what we were. That's not going to happen. Have a nice day. That's why. Okay. He also defended Rajoy's use of rough justice on Sunday, arguing that every government has an obligation to uphold the rule of law and, pay close attention, EU citizens that can sometimes require the proportional use of force, she said. Like old ladies standing in line to vote. Rip her out by her hair and smash her forehead. That's the use of proportional use of force. At any moment, Rajoy, with the king's explicit support, could activate Article 155 of Spain's constitution, which would allow the central government to force the Catalan government to obey the laws of Spain. To that end, the Rajoy administration dispatched 2 military convoys to Barcelona today to beef up its coercive capabilities in the city, as well as provide logistic support to the civil guard and national police based there, which is the same people he sent into Catalonia the other day. In other words, the markets are right to be jittery. Both sides in this conflict are poised on the point of no return. Unless they can be pulled back from the brink, the next step that either side takes will bring the state institutions of Spain into direct confrontation with those of Catalonia. Once that happens, Spain's political system and economy will be in uncharted territory, and the jitters we've seen in recent days could quickly give way to panic. People in Catalonia are already moving their money. While some of the wealthiest are shifting their funds out of Spain altogether, most people are moving their money from their bank branch in Catalonia to a branch somewhere else in Spain. The money stays within the same financial institution, which even in the case of Saxa Bank and Sabadell is registered in Spain. As such, the money is moving around, but most of it not actually leaving the system. But it won't take much for spooked investors to begin moving their money out of Spain en masse, or for desperate Catalan depositors to take their savings out of the bank and deposit it under their mattress or somewhere slightly more imaginative. The sight of Spanish armed forces laying siege to Catalonia's parliament building, just 5 blocks from where I live, he says, will probably suffice. If things spiral that far, Spain's financial system will face its biggest test since 2012. The year that Bankia collapsed, and Spain's risk premium reached a staggering 630 basis points. And if the recent collapse of its 6th biggest bank, Banco Popular, just 4 months ago is any indication, it could have serious difficulty weathering the sort of disruption that appears to be on its way. Good day, sir.